So, 12:43, people pushing into queues, traffic jams, cancelled trains. Are you feeling angrier? The chances are you will be, as a new survey has listed these amongst the top 50 things that put Brits into a rage. Let's talk to the man who undertook the survey from AngryBritain.com, Dom Bradbury. And also joining us, we have Mike Fisher, Director of the British Association of Anger Management. Hello, Mike.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello to you, Dom.
Hello.
What made you decide to carry out this survey?
Well, I thought it was time that we had a look and saw what really makes us Brits angry, and it seems that the claws are really out, a bit like Wolverine.
Are you an angry man?
Me, I live my life angry. I don't think I know the difference between anger and normal anymore.
What's wrong with you? Why are you so angry?
Well, it's life in Britain, isn't it? It just takes its toll on a daily basis now. I think it just consumes you after a while.
You don't sound like an angry man.
Don't I?
No.
I have to try a bit harder.
Yeah, try a bit harder, please.
Okay.
Can you put your angry face on, Dominic?
It's on now.
Okay. Right. So, what makes you angry?
Okay. Well, the top thing that makes us all angry apparently is queue jumping. So if you're out at the moment queuing for your lunch, make sure you're standing in line and don't push in, because you may well come a cropper.
Yeah, you hate that. What else?
Indeed. Benefit scroungers, that's always a favourite, isn't it? Those and the likes of Jeremy Kyle guests, they're high on the list at number 6. People using their phones while driving, that's another one that we get a lot of around here in London, where we're doing an interview from today. People spitting in public, we've got footballers to thank for that. Reality shows, traffic jams, lateness, laziness, petrol prices, the list is endless.
Where do irresponsible dog owners come in that list?
I think they're in the list somewhere, but yeah, if you've got a dog, clear up after you. It doesn't take much, does it?
No, quite right. Mike, what makes you angry?
Well, if I just put it in its most simplest forms, when people don't do what I want them to do, and of course, when they do things when they don't do things I do want them to do. Did you get that?
Yeah, we got that, sort of.
Good.
If we do start feeling angry, if Dominic goes into a rage whilst on this programme, what can we do to calm him down? Or what can he do?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was interesting because one of the things that you said to him is, what's wrong with you? Why do you get so angry? So immediately what happens, and I'm not suggesting this happens to Dominic, but immediately what happens with an individual, they go to feeling really bad about the fact that they're angry.
A
lot of people angry cannot help themselves because their anger overwhelms them and their anger controls them. So the first thing we do is we stop, take a look at the big picture. What's really going on for me? What's going on underneath the surface? Not the surface, the surface. And as I start to understand what's going on underneath the surface, then I start to be able to control my anger. But I got to understand what's driving that anger. That's the first thing. The second thing, which I think Dom is it Dom or Dominic? I think it's either or, isn't it?
It's either or. I'm not going to get upset about my name.
Oh, no, don't start calling him the wrong name. You never know what might happen. He might turn into the Hulk.
Well, there you go. I don't want to be disrespectful, do I? But the second key component to this is like when people take things personally. And so the example that Dominic is giving is somebody jumps the queue. Somebody else would take that personally. Why take it personally? It's not the end of the world if somebody jumps that queue. But having said that, I know that it really winds me up when somebody jumps the queue, because actually I was there first. So I take on this kind of mantle of superiority.
See, Mike, you need to let rip, Mike. Clearly, you're too passive.
Reasons why they jumped the queue.
Also, Mike, sure. This is a personal question. Where are you from originally?
Originally from South Africa, but keeping in mind I've been here 27 years.
Right. Okay. I'm just wondering whether there's a bit of Britishness that you're not familiar with. I mean, you don't jump queues in this country. In this country, you jump a queue, you aren't going to incur the wrath of me. I'm with you, Dom.
You might as well have stolen my firstborn if you jump as well.
but keeping in mind, I'm also reinforcing that I hate people jumping queues.
I know, but you're saying look at the bigger picture. We don't look at the big picture.
But Mike, if you don't get it off your chest, who's going to know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you don't get it off your chest. I'm not saying I don't express myself. If somebody jumps the queue, I tell you I'm the first person to say, hey, dude, you've just jumped the queue. Please get back in line. Yeah. What the English do is they suck it in, as you already know. And then we explode in all sorts of other areas of our life, especially if you think about road rage, which we have the highest levels of road rage in the whole of Europe.
Mm. Well, you just said English there. Do you mean British? Because we're different to the English. We don't suck it in.
Oh,
us Welsh, we don't suck
it
in. We let it out.
The Scottish don't suck it in. The Irish don't
Welsh,
suck it in.
we don't let it. We let it all out. It all comes out.
Is that true about the Welsh?
No, not really.
No, I tell you why I asked that is because, we have, for the last 17 years, tried to promote our programs in Wales. Do you think we get a response? Hell no, we don't get a response. Do you think we get a response in Scotland? Hell no, we don't get a response.
I think it depends on the individual, doesn't it, Dom?
You're sounding quite angry, Mike, for an anger management consultant.
Well, just like you, Dom, I am angry.
Good. You need to take to Twitter and tell people about it like I do.
Well, I speak to probably, I can't even tell you how many thousands of people we speak to annually. So, I'm constantly, just like you, getting my message across. And, of course, I appreciate the fact that you're raising this to people's awareness.
Mike, let's just go into this in greater detail. We've had a good laugh at the first 5 minutes of this interview. But if somebody does something, okay, jumping the queue isn't really that bad, is it? Although it can be annoying. But if somebody does something to you personally, what should you do? How can you control your temper?
Well, look, I don't think it's, going back to what Dom said, I don't think it's about controlling it. I think it's about being able to communicate my thoughts and my feelings, but it's how I communicate it. So, if somebody jumps the queue, I don't kind of pull out my chainsaw and cut off his head. I ask him respectfully and politely if he will just take notice that there's a queue, and can he actually be back in line? And if he says, well, if you, of course, I'm not going to push that any further because I'm not interested in getting into an argument or fight. I'm just stating and naming what I'd like him to do. Whether he does it or not, that's really up to him.
But what if you can't speak to that person? And road rage is a good example, isn't it?
But that's the whole point I'm making, that what we do in our anger management programs, we teach you how to communicate those feelings correctly. You see, for me, the question that I have is I have a rule of thumb. If that is going to matter after 5 minutes, I'm going to probably say something to this bloke. But if it's not going to matter after 5 minutes, I'm just going to drop it. Because like Dom, loads and loads and loads of things make me angry. I'm an angry bloke. I don't have an issue about being angry, but I've got to make sure that whatever comes out of my mouth is squeaky clean, that I don't actually get into being aggressive, passive-aggressive.
Here's one for you, Mike. Linda in Swansea says, Jason, I've had my purse stolen. I'm very angry. I don't know where it is. I don't know where the thief is. I'm very angry. How do I control my emotions?
Well, I think the first thing she needs to ask herself is stop to think, to take a look at the big picture. And the second thing is to ask herself, is she taking it personally? So if she doesn't stop, think, and take a look at the big picture, she has no idea what's going on for that thief.
But Mike, of course she's going to take it personally. This is her purse with her belongings, her cash possibly, her credit cards in.
Well,
and there is no big picture, is there? It's a very small picture.
No, there's a very, very, very big picture.
Some idiot, horrible thief has stolen her purse, and let's find the idiot.
Send Wolverine after him.
There's two pieces to this.
Will you stop going on about Wolverine?
No.
The one piece is, and please keep in mind, guys, this is a fairly serious conversation. So if you want me to engage in it, I'm happy to engage in it. But I'm not going to make light of people who actually have anger problems, because I work with these people and they are really seriously sick.
No, of course. No, understood.
So what I'm suggesting is that in terms of stop, think, take a look at the big picture, maybe what you can do is to think about, how did she put herself in a situation where her purse was stolen? Was she present with what was going on around her? Where was her mind at that particular time? What was going on for that thief? Is this thief actually a drug addict? Is this thief somebody who's trying to feed their family? We absolutely don't know. And that's what I mean by, stop, think, take a look at the big picture. We have absolutely no idea. That's the first part, taking things personally. Now, I know that we take things personally. I know that I take things personally. I take virtually everything personally. But I have a choice whether I'm going to take it personally or not. And I have to train myself to stop taking things personally, because at the end of the day, shit happens. Life happens. I have no control over it. I can prepare for it, but I have no control over it. And keeping in mind, with the client group I'm working with, guys, they don't just get explode. They don't explode, say, 4 times a day. They explode 8 times a day, 10 times a day, 12 times a day. Their families are terrified of them. The people that they work and they live with are terrified of them, and they themselves are terrified of themselves.
Right. Okay. So I'm just wondering. Sadly, there may be people listening to the program who've lost wives, lost girlfriends, lost boyfriends, lost partners, and they're listening, and they walk out on them. That's personal. How do you bottle that anger and that upset?
Who's that a question to?
That's to you, Mike.
What we do is we train people to not take things personally. So the thing is that I've got to ask myself, what do I make that mean to me? That's where I start.
But your wife has just left you.
Well, she doesn't just leave me because I've been an angel. She's left me because I've actually been terrorizing her for years and years and years. Please note, I work with these people all day, every day, yeah? It didn't happen one day she woke up and said, actually, you know what, I'm going to be leaving you, darling.
Yeah.
They leave because they're actually terrified of the situation. And actually, often when a woman leaves, they don't leave for themselves, they leave for the safety of the children. especially when children are still very young and can't protect themselves from the father's aggression.
Yeah, or they possibly leave for another bloke.
Or they leave another bloke. But if their needs are not being met in that relationship, why would they remain in that relationship? They're going to go to a relationship where they feel is going to be loving and caring and supportive.
Yeah. Dom.
Hello.
Analyse what we've just heard.
I think really that's what Angry Britain is all about. Ultimately, it's about not taking it personally. It's a place where people can just log on and let rip, and just venting that bit of anger, I think, makes everyone feel a bit better, and that's why it's there. What's the point in taking stuff personally? Life's too short, isn't it? But if you can have a bit of a rant and get it off your chest, and if it makes you feel moderately better, then we've done what we were set up to do.
Very nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. Mike Fisher, Director at the British Association of Anger Management. Thank you, Mike. Very good to talk to you. And Dom Bradbury, creator of the blog AngryBritain.com. 12:53. You have 7 minutes to get in touch. What makes you angry?